How are you?
Hello. Great. You?
I'm good.
Yeah. All right.
So I was doing the first two questions. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Are you ready for me to go ahead and start?
Sure. Go ahead.
Okay. It's long, so I'm sorry. So let's see. Describe how the following senses occur: taste, smell, hearing, balance, vision. Taste occurs when chemicals come in contact with taste buds, which are found around the papillae on the tongue.
Mhm.
And they contain 25 to 50 chemoreceptors. And the hair-like tip of the, I guess, taste buds is covered in saliva. The chemicals that dissolve in saliva activate the gustatory cell, which then stimulate cranial nerves. And the gustatory signals are sent to the brain through via three different cranial nerves. There's the facial, the glossopharyngeal, and the vagus, just depending on the location of the taste bud. And I don't know if we need to go this far into detail, but there are four types of papillae, I guess. There's the valate, the foliate, the filiform, and the fungiform, just on different areas of the tongue. Um, see, so smell. It says there's a small area of epithelium that covers the roof of the nasal cavity that contains receptor cells for olfaction. And these receptor cells leave the nasal cavity via pores in the ethmoid bone. Then they gather together to form the cranial nerve one. It says that the odor molecules bind to the cilia of receptor cells, and impulses along nerve fibers leaving the nasal cavity through the ethmoid bone is stimulated. And these fibers then synapse with neurons in the olfactory bulb, which are then partially processed by glomeruli. And the signal continues to primary olfactory cortex in the brain.
Mhm.
Feel free to stop me at any point if you have anything bad.
Oh, I'm following.
So for hearing, what I have is that sound waves are funneled into the outer ear via the auricle, and then they travel through the auditory canal until it gets to the eardrum, causing it to vibrate. And then the vibration enters the middle ear and travels through those three really small bones, the malleus, incus, and stapes. So the vibration, I guess, then moves into the inner ear after the stapes uh, basically vibrates against the oval window and shakes the perilymph through the roof of the cochlear duct. Oh wait, yes. Make sure I got that right. Yes, okay. And the vibrations travel from the perilymph through the roof of the cochlear duct and then onto the corti. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but onto the corti, where
Mhm.
neuroimpulses are sent along the cochlear nerve. And these impulses go to the auditory cortex of the brain's temporal lobe, where it is interpreted into sound. And then the ripples continue through the perilymph until they strike the oval window. I feel like I should have gotten a picture for this because that was long. But
No, but you did go through the process, so that was a long one for hearing.
so balance has to do with the ears again. So some
Mhm.
semicircular canals and vestibules of the inner ear like you roll and maintaining balance. The fluid, I guess there's fluid in the semicircular canals. And those canals all kind of lay at right angles to each other, and they allow each of them to be stimulated by a different movement of the head, so I think a different direction. And at the end of each of these canals is an ampulla, which is, I guess, contains a mound of hairs covered by a papilla. That's what I have for that. Basically, I think it's just the fluid in these canals that adjust to the way you move that give you your sense of balance.
Yes.
And vision, basically, light enters the eye, and it has to be bent or refracted in order to focus on the retina. And when it does that, it produces, I always think this is cool, but it makes a tiny upside down image.
Mm-hmm.
And then the photoreceptors in the retina convert that image into nerve impulses, which are then sent to the brain for translation. That was long. Anything to add?
No, I don't. You did mention the whole process for all of these senses, which is amazing.
Okay. So the next question, chapter 12, I mean, it kind of goes along with the one you're going to be answering too.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to pull that one up. I need to list the major endocrine glands and the hormones they secrete. There are a lot.
Yeah.
So the anterior pituitary, now let me know if I leave any out. I have the growth hormone, prolactin, thyroid stimulating hormone, and adrenocorticotropic. And they have the follicle stimulating hormone and the luteinizing hormone. So I have 6 for that. Is that how many you have?
Yeah, I got the 6 too.
Okay. So the posterior pituitary, I have the antidiuretic, ADH,
Mm-hmm.
and then oxytocin. And then the pineal is the melatonin. The thymus produces thymosin and thymopoietin. Thyroid, I get the thymus and the thyroid mixed up. Those are hard. Thyroid has the T3 and the T4 and the calcitonin. I don't want to try and pronounce the T3 and T4. Let's see. Then we have the parathyroid, which makes the parathyroid hormone. That one's easy to remember. And then the adrenal medulla, it produces epinephrine and norepinephrine. Adrenal cortex, I have 4. There's aldosterone, cortisol, adrenal androgens, and adrenal estrogen. And the pancreas has glucagon, insulin, and somatostatin. And then, what is this? The gonads, I guess, sex hormone. The ovaries for the female produces estrogen and progesterone. And the testes for the male produces testosterone.
Yep.
Those were basically all given, I think, weren't they? Didn't it already list the hormones?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but yeah. I will.
All right. Thanks. Right. So I have the conditions for release, target cells, and effects of hormone. So with the 6 first one from the anterior pituitary. So I'm just gonna use their initials when I can. So for GH, PRL, TSH, ACTH, FSH, and LH, they're all tropic hormones, and so they're all stimulated by other hormones. Although for GH, they target the liver, bone, muscle, and fat. PRL targets the mammary glands, TSH, the thyroid gland, ACTH, target the adrenal cortex. For the FSH, I have they target the ovaries and testes. And for LH, they target ovaries and testes. As for their effects, I have for the growth hormones, promotes protein synthesis, lipid and carbohydrate metabolism, and bone and skeletal growth. PRL stimulates milk secretion. For TSH, I have they stimulate the growth of the thyroid gland and the secretion of thyroid hormone. The ACTH stimulate the growth of and the secretion of corticosteroids. For the FSH, in female, they stimulate the growth of ovarian follicles and secretion of estrogen. And for the male, they stimulate sperm production. LH, for the female, it stimulates ovulation and estrogen and progesterone. And for a male, it stimulates the secretion of testosterone by the testes. So those are the hormones of the anterior pituitary. Did you have anything else to add for the target cells or effects of hormones?
You're actually adding more for me.
Oh, okay. So let's see. So for the next two hormones, the uterus and mammal glands. Oh shoot, sorry, I forgot. They are released by signals from the neuron system.
Okay.
So their effects for the ADH, they act on the kidney to reduce urine volume and prevent dehydration, water retention. And for the oxytocin, they stimulate contraction of the uterus during childbirth and trigger the release of milk from the breast during lactation. Do you have any other effects from these hormones?
Nope, I think I have about the same as you.
Okay. So enter P. So the next one, the pineal melatonin, is released by the suprachiasmatic nucleus and white.
Oh, I have a question for you, actually.
Yeah.
What was the target cell for that one, for the pineal gland? What did you have?
The target cells. Oh, that's true. Is that blue part meaning that we're not supposed to fill them up? I have.
I'm confused by that, but I couldn't figure out what I was supposed to put.
Yeah.
Cell there. I kind of put the brain question mark. I don't know.
I did body cells, but like you said, because it could be the brain. Well, I did read the body cells, but from our book itself, it doesn't mention. It was not mentioned, so I don't know if that blue parts mean we're not supposed to fill them out. Do you have the same thing? The cells,
Yeah,
are they blue for you?
I do. I have the same thing. I didn't know what to think of it. I just figured it was a.
Yeah, I don't know either, but melatonin.
Anyways, you can continue.
Okay.
That.
Yeah, it was confusing. Some were saying the body cells, and so I don't know. So the effect of melatonin, it regulates sleep cycle and synchronizes the body to day and night rhythm. So for the next two, we have thymosin and thymopoietin. Again, I don't really have much. For the thymosin, I read that they were targeting the white blood cells.
Okay.
Or do you have anything else in that?
I just put the immune system.
The immune system. Okay.
It goes right along with the white blood cells. So.
What about the? Did you add who controlled them?
The what?
The conditions of release. Do you have something in there for both of them? I don't have any.
So for those, I don't know how accurate I am. For both of them, I put the same thing. Well, I guess I put more of both the release in childhood to stimulate the immune system development. So I guess the condition for release is just that you are a child developing an immune system. Because yeah, I couldn't really find any really good answer to that either. So I guess maybe just growth stimulates it. Maybe it's.
And so we just mentioned the effects, so that you activate the immune system and its development. So for T3 and T4, I have, they're regulated by hormones, TSH. They target, for T3 and T4, they target most tissues. And their effect, they increase rate of metabolism. For calcitonin, it is controlled by the level of calcium in the blood, and it targets bone. Now its effects, it increases deposition of Ca2 plus in bones, and it lowers blood Ca2 plus levels. That's what I've got for those. Did you have anything to add for those hormones from the thyroid?
The same thing I had.
Okay. For the parathyroid hormone, PTH, it is controlled by the level of calcium in the blood. It targets bones, kidneys, and intestines. Its effects, it maintains normal levels of calcium in the blood. It increases blood Ca2 plus levels. And it reduces urinary excretion of Ca2 plus. And it increases absorption of Ca2 plus by the intestines. So that's what I've got for PTH. Do you have?
The only thing I have to add is that it breaks down old bone, I guess, which puts more Ca2 plus in the blood.
Thanks. So for the next gland, adrenal medulla, for epinephrine, it is released by the activation of nerves that are connected to the adrenal glands. It targets most of the tissues, and it enhances the effect of sympathetic nervous system. For sorry,
what did you say for conditions of release for that? I couldn't find anything.
Again, I just read extra because, like you said, I think that blue cells, it means that there was nothing in the book.
Oh, okay.
I've got that they were activated by nerves that are connected to the adrenal glands. So I guess they are activated by the nervous system.
Okay, thanks.
So that was, I know, I wish we had all of that information.
You know, it's kind of funny that they included it for some and not for the others. But...
That was for epinephrine. Yes, so for norepinephrine, it is actually released by different physiological changes that are activated by a stressful event. That's what I got for norepinephrine. Is that, do you get anything for that one?
I'm not entirely sure for that. I didn't see for any of the ones here that I could use.
And then they target most tissues. They enhance the effect of the sympathetic nervous system. So same as epinephrine. So for the next gland, the adrenal cortex, the aldosterone. For this one, I've got it's released by a decrease in blood flow to the kidneys, from what I read. Well, not from the book. It targets the kidneys, and it promotes Na plus retention and K plus excretion and water retention. For the cortisol, I've got it's released by the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis. So I guess it's a hormonal regulation too. It targets most tissues, and it does a lot of things. So it helps the body adapt to stress. It repairs damaged tissue by stimulating the breakdown of fat and protein. It converts fat and protein to glucose. It releases fatty acids and glucose into the blood. It maintains a normal blood pressure. It has anti-inflammatory effect. It suppresses the immune system if that one is secreted over a long time. For the adrenal androgens and the adrenal estrogens, I do not have anything for the conditions of release. Do you have anything?
No, I don't. I didn't do any extra reading. I should have.
Well, I think we were supposed to skip it, but just in case. It targets, so they both target sex organs, and they stimulate, for the androgens, adrenal androgens, they stimulate the development of pubic and axillary hair and sustain sex drive in both sexes. For the adrenal estrogens, I have nothing. It says physiologically unimportant. Did I miss anything, or did you have anything else that you?
Nope.
That
great.
Okay, so let's go to the pancreas. Glucagon. let's see, rising blood, low blood glucose, rising. Okay, glucagon, insulin, somatostatin. They are all released by specific molecules in the blood. For glucagon, we have low blood glucose. Insulin, we have a rise in blood glucose. And for somatostatin, we have high blood levels of glucose and amino acids. So they target glucagon, targets the primarily liver. For insulin, it targets most tissues. Somatostatin targets pancreatic cells. Their effects for glucagon, it stimulates the breakdown of the stored form of glucose for release into the bloodstream. Insulin stimulates the movement of glucose from the bloodstream into cells. And for somatostatin, it mainly helps regulate the secretion of other hormones of the pancreas.
Sounds good.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. And for the last 3 ones, for estrogen and progesterone, I got they're stimulated by the hypothalamus. And for the target, estrogen targets the breast, uterus, internal and external genitalia. Progesterone targets breast and uterus. Testosterone targets sexual organs. And their effects, we have estrogen acts to promote development of female primary and secondary sexual characteristics. And it has an important role in preparing the uterus for implantation of embryo. For progesterone, they build up and maintain the uterus wall for embedding of the fertilized egg. And they aid in breast enlargement and body hair. For testosterone, they aid in development and function of male sex organs, body hair, muscle development, and voice change. Anything else?
Nope. Sounds good.
Okay. Let's see.
Have you started studying for the test yet?
No, I'm behind. I should already have been starting, because then I will cram everything at the last minute. That I should not. No, I have only been doing studying only the chapters for this week. I haven't got to the exam prep.
Yeah, I haven't quite either. I'm behind as well. Further behind than I'd like to. Yeah, this week is a lot.
Yeah, I agree. And I felt like I wish they will give us that whole week to just study, but they add those chapters, so it is a lot. But it seems like for the exam, they well, I know they do most of all of it, but most of the questions are the picture, at least from the first exam. It looks like they do more of on the last 2 chapters, since we haven't been tested on them compared to the previous chapters of the previous weeks. Well, I know they do all of it, but it looks like they do more. But you never know. Who knows? Better know everything, I guess. Yeah. So did you not start then your exam preparation for the one that we have to submit for the whole class?
Did I not start what? Sorry.
Let me see.
A practice exam review?
Yes, the practice exam.
No, I haven't yet. It's still really crazy week.
Yeah, me too. So
Oh goodness, that's a lot to do tonight.
me too. 'Cause, yeah, it is you tonight.
This is my first time looking at it. I'm really on top of things.
Me neither.
So it's basically the same thing as last time, though. It looks like, right?
Mhm.
Online
Yes.
tuition and
Yeah, you're right.
okay, we do that pretty quickly, but still, it's like
Yeah, it looks like it's not, but for those 5 points on even the study of the chapters, it's a lot.
yeah.
So let's see for next week. I think we have, or is the teaching key concepts. Mm.
Oh, we do 3 chapters next week.
Oh, we do.
Huh?
Where is mine? So how did you want to do it? We do one chapter each, and obviously one question from one chapter.
Yeah.
So you want me to do chapter 13 and the first question of chapter 14 since you did the beginning this week?
Sure. Sounds good.
Okay.
Awesome.
All right. Well, good luck on that exam.
Thanks. You too.
Thanks. All right. Take care. Bye.
Okay. Bye.